How do you make sense of a sales journey, your product offerings, sort of what is your product stack? How do you identify what things to offer so that you can acquire a customer versus upsell and deepen the relationship with a customer? This is something that comes up a lot, especially whenever we're either in startup mode or we're creating new lines of business or new offerings. And so in my program, this is something that we kind of walk through. And I wanted to just take an example from Rick, who has a lot of questions right now around his CRM. How does he manage leads? How does he turn those leads into customers? How does he cultivate and nurture those leads on an ongoing basis? And so what originally started as like some technical things around how do we actually figure out our funnel from a CRM perspective turned into really, well, what's the sales journey? What are we trying to accomplish? How do we track people through a sales funnel? What are we offering to them so that we can see the stages? Is that a part of how we're thinking about our CRM in the multiple stages of first time sell versus upsells? In that process, we determined that to take some of our next steps in the program, which are around defining our 30, 60, 90-day goals and what projects to work on, we needed to first solve an understanding of, well, what's the sales funnel and what are the products that we have to work with? And so what I want to share with you is how that conversation went. And it's roughly 60 minutes of literally processing in real time, sort of what are the offerings, why do they matter? And what I think is interesting about this video is for those who have ever asked, like, well, what's it like to work with you? And when you call them working sessions, what does it mean? When I say you bring the hammer, I'll bring the saw. What are we working on today? A lot of times people are like, I don't know what that means. And I will just say, like, well, it just depends. I mean, you where you are, exactly what you're working on, and we work on that. And so this is a great example of both how do we start to figure out our portfolio of products and our offerings and a sales journey, but at the same time, what is it like to work with me in real time, where I'm trying to work with you as if I was in your organization, trying to work this through, while I'm also trying to be your coach and consultant and guide you on the best path. So what you'll see next is how we took sort of the blank canvas and stacked it out in order to understand, what are the easy products to sell, what's the core offering, and how will we get there. We talk about things like why the core offer needs to have something in front of it. We talk about how do we create an assessment that reveals logically where there's problems, so the only answer to those problems are our solutions, and we talk a little bit about that. We also start to talk about why is that thing productized and what is the customer's problems, so that we can connect our solution to a real customer problem, not just because we have it available to sell. So we go through that, and then you can kind of see how we build out this portfolio, and we do it in a very kind of organic manner. And my point in really sharing that with you is what it really means is there's no right or wrong way to do it. You could use some frameworks, you could use some methodologies, but you'll see how we do this all in Miro, and we just sort of make sense of it as we go. Now, in truth, ultimately, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, a product ladder is a small price product that can easily earn a customer, and then upsells around that, our core offer, our flagship offering, the thing that we want to sell the most of. And if it's a medium price or a high ticket price, then our core offer often isn't the first thing we sell. We have to sell something first to earn trust and gain authority and open the wallet. So kind of go through all that in the conversation. So have a look and see what we've done.
We need to make a decision. In the next 60 minutes, we can either finish this activity and stay on track with the program, or we can pop out of this activity and do a quick workshop around all these unknowns that you have around the journey.
Workshop on the unknowns.
So what we've identified, actually, in your own words, what have we identified? What do you think we're going to do next?
Well, I think we've identified that I really don't know what a sales journey is, and I'm hoping to learn something about it, or at least the aspects of it that are going to be applicable to what I'm doing over the next 90 days.
There you go. And that's what I think that was the crux of why I called this out, was like when I look at branding, fill the pipeline, revenue generating activity, sales journey, they're all going to come back to sales journey. So like if we look at root cause analysis, everything on all this stuff radiates from, I need to figure out my sales journey. So that was what I was reacting to, is basically just running Velm and saying, okay, what's going on here? Oh, we're trying to get these things done. Well, to get these things done, we work back and then we land on sales journey over and over and over again, which then indicates, well, is the sales journey going to include products, new products? Is it going to include lead generators? Not like, so then that creates new questions that you don't have answers to, which then results in like, okay, we need to kind of figure this first thing out, because if you want your 90-day pipeline, your 90-day value horizons to be composed of this, we've got to understand sort of the core, right? And so
Yeah.
one option is we could just do the first in the value horizon one, we could do your workshop. That could be one of the things that is our good idea, right? Because once we have problem statements, we have to have a good idea of our solution. Well, one good idea is let's do a workshop on how to do sales journeys. But we're just going to jump to that right away.
Yep. No, I think that's the right thing to do.
Okay. So what does that look like? First things first, we're just going to map out the basics. What is your core offer right now?
So yeah. All right. So the core paid offer.
Yep.
Okay. The core offer is to measure and mature the Microsoft 365 Secure Score, and now CIS, rapidly for clients, along with backing up their data. Those are and the reason the backing up the data is, anyway, I guess I don't need to explain
So,
that. But
yeah. So measure and mature MS 365 what?
Secure Score.
Secure Score.
Yeah.
And this is the thing you showed me several months ago, right? That we talked about a from to change. I was at the score,
Yes.
then I changed to the score. Okay.
Right.
All right. And what's the price of this offer?
So I've got two different pricing levels now.
Okay.
Well, and then I've got, okay, but we're talking core offer, right?
Yep.
So the core offer is $19.95.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. There's a per user thing component, but that's not really important.
Okay.
It's not big.
And just as a data point, tell me a little bit about the process that's required. Beginning, middle, and end. How much time does it take? So
Okay.
what do we do first?
Okay. So the first thing is to, so if they don't have Microsoft 365 Business Premium, we bring them up to the level of licensing that they need, okay, which is Business Premium.
So bring it up to requirements, let's just say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay.
The second thing is to so I'll tell you and then you type. Okay. I wouldn't type this out. So normally when somebody has an account that they've set up or somebody set up for them, their user account is also the administrative account, which is quite dangerous. So I create and split out the admin function from that. So I created their admin account and then one for myself, which allows me then to implement, to conduct the assessment and implement the changes.
Okay.
So you could just say admin account changes. I mean, we're not creating marketing material here.
Whoopsie. That was weird. One of the jumps. Okay, and then what?
So after the admin account changes, I onboard them into Skykick, which is the tool that I use in a perform an assessment.
So we're just going to call that performance assessment.
Okay.
And then?
There's going to be the initial review with them, which may just be a report or provide a report. We don't need to do the review.
And then a remediation step or no?
Yep. And then remediation.
And then another report, right?
Report out. Yep.
And is there any consulting or anything after that? Or does that now lead to the next upsell opportunity?
So that'll lead to and then somewhere along in there, I'll get their data backed up. Probably 2A is to start backing up their data.
All right. So I'm just going to put at the end, confirm all data backed up.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So yeah, so I still need to formalize some. I've got some informal things that I've done with Rob, for instance, for ongoing revenue. Okay.
Yep.
But that's something that I need to formalize. I've got a premium offering to this as well.
Okay, so premium is an upsell, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an upsell. It can be used as an upsell. It can also be used as hey, down the road, you should do this. And it's not necessary for all of the clients, but the ones that have high risk data should be doing it.
Okay. So I think what we will do is we will just call that core offer upsell, because it depends on core offer, right? This is just an enhancement to it.
Right.
Okay. And that's priced at what?
I know what I priced it at for Rob, but I think I'm thinking I need to leave it at $19.95. We'll see. So let's just call it $19.95.
Another $19.95 on
Yeah.
top of the first $19.95.
Yeah. So, but if we bundle it and discount it, right?
Yeah, we're not worried about those mechanisms just yet. Okay, so they're going to add another 1985. And what do you call this? Measure and mature. What is that called?
This is to mature the CIS, the Center for Internet Security score, and additional Windows Defender capabilities.
Okay.
Yep.
And is there some other ancillary kind of like this backup data?
Put a zero patch, the number 0 and PATCH. I don't see.
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was trying to close out the thought over there.
All right. So just replace that, put in parentheses, just as kind of a side thought, 0, the number 0, and PATCH, all one word.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we don't need to detail the mechanics of that one.
So, I know what they are, but we could, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I can follow along with that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then we're going to take this. Send it back.
Okay.
Okay. So is it fair to say if we're talking about core offer, we're talking about the green box, because it might or might not have the upsell, but no matter what, this is what we're striving for in the thing we're selling, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Now that we know our core offer, do we think of this core offer as high ticket, low ticket, what do we think of this as? Is this a high ticket sell, or is this a low ticket sell?
It's mid ticket.
Okay. All right. So you can set aside that. That answers the question. Okay. So what's the high ticket? What's the high ticket offering that happens next?
Well, it's the so is it the high ticket offer or just the okay, so I'm struggling with all of this, right? So there needs to be a recurring revenue offer.
Okay, so let's actually do it. Yeah. So
So
let's
I
do it
would
like this.
I would say the core offer is mid, the upsell is high, right? And then or the core and upsell is high. And then recurring revenue is just another thing. Does that make did that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to pivot slightly and just say let's get the things we want to sell out on the board. So a monthly recurring is priced at what?
I don't know yet.
Okay, give me a guess.
Let's call it 195 a month for the base
Okay.
the base offering. Okay.
Yep. And give it a name.
Let's just call it monitoring and reporting. Monitoring, reporting, and Q&A.
Okay. All right. What's another thing you sell?
Another thing I sell is there's another two things. They're lower ticket introductory items. One is a $495 package, and this is more to get connection with the client, to get them from using a Gmail account, at gmail.com or at outlook.com to an account that's tied to their domain name. So it's let's call it a Microsoft, not Microsoft. I don't want to tie it to Microsoft. So a
URL
basic
branded email.
Yeah, branded email. There you go.
Branded secure email.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the offering, right?
Yep. That's the offering. Okay.
Okay. What else?
And then there's a $795 version, which is a migration from Gmail or a Google Workspace to Microsoft 365.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a $995 package, and I'm trying to remember what I came up with for that. But let's stick with, let's stick with those for now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I can always bolt on to this.
All right. So in other words, today, if you had a customer in buying mode, this is all you could sell them, right? There's not other things you would sell them?
Oh, yes. There is a business continuity workshop. That's $995 workshop.
Come on, Justin. Okay. And how long does that take?
That takes Are you talking elapsed time?
How much of your time does it take?
Oh, how much of my time? Almost. Let's see. That's going to take. It's probably underpriced now that I say it, because it takes 8 hours of my time.
Okay. And how much of that is with the client?
That's what all of it's client time.
Oh, okay.
So that probably needs to be $14.95.
Okay.
Yeah, make that $14.95.
Okay. So when you think about CV and Aaron's wife and others, is there anything you've left out?
There's something that I ought to put in there, and that's like a Microsoft 365 effectiveness workshop. Or I mean, that's a terrible name for it.
That's okay. We're not worried about brand names. I mean,
Okay.
marketing names. So it's a Microsoft what? Effectiveness.
Yeah, 365 effectiveness workshop.
And what's the time on that?
Let's call that 4 hours of work time. Yeah.
Okay. And what are you charging for
that? Given that I just invented that, let's call it $7.95.
Okay. Feel good about that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Now,
and then I really want to come up with multiple monthly offerings, but I have to think about what that looks like.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So, in the typical sales engagement, not the ideal, but just the typical networking selling opportunity, what is the first thing that is compelling, clear problem, clear solution, clear price, clear benefit statement? What's the first thing to earn a customer out of all these blue boxes?
If I had clarity about that, I could just regurgitate it to you. I'll tell you the starting place for the conversation. Maybe this will help tick that off. Is around being so business owners are busy chasing sales, servicing customers, and their focus is not on cybersecurity, but an incident being hacked is what can put them out of business faster than anything. So I'm the easy button to help them, provide them the protection that they deserve but aren't getting from big tech.
Okay. So that's the gist of your elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is not that.
Okay.
Right. My question is, what's the first problem you're going to solve for them that they're going to pay for that is easy to communicate? Or we don't know.
Okay, let me grab, hang on a second. I've got some content that I've been working on. Where are my three? The first problem I'm going to solve for them. So the first problem is around protecting their brand name. So, and that's something I didn't mention, is that really the first step is going to be around migrating or making sure that their domain registrar has been migrated to Cloudflare. And that's to protect their ownership of their domain name. So it's branding protection.
Hey, okay, so what price is that? That sounds like not any of these.
That's built into the core offer.
Okay.
Okay.
Does it have to be?
No.
Can we price it as if it wasn't? Say yes to that. Let's just do it.
Sure.
Okay, so here's what we're looking for. This is a open the tent opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And so to get in with them, here's a way to think about this, Rick. This jumpstarts discovery on a meaningful action that gets you into their tech environment, right? And moves them through you gaining authority, credibility, trust, and also solving a reasonable problem. That's why this matters. Okay.
All right.
So one thing it does is it helps with a paid discovery and a paid action rather than it being free, right? Okay. Having said that, it also needs to be seen as affordable to start when they don't know a lot, right? So do you want to price that by how many hours it takes and you can defend an hourly rate? Do you want to give it a package price and it doesn't matter and you'll get more efficient? Like, what are you thinking there?
I'm thinking it should be a low fixed price.
Okay. What's that number in your mind?
195.
Okay. And we're going to call that brand protection. What? Brand protection. What is the problem? The problem is they just have it on random registrars and they could lose. Like,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. So there's two aspects of this. Okay. One is that it could be on, it's on whatever platform. So it might be, hey, it was on Google. Well, Google now moved everything over to Squarespace, and Squarespace is not the world's best domain name registrar. Some people do it on GoDaddy. I could have a long discussion about GoDaddy. I think we have had that discussion about GoDaddy. But it ends up that it was done by someone, maybe not the owner. So someone else may actually be registered as the owner of that domain name. And if they're not listed as the owner, they're not really the owner. They may be paying for it, but they don't own it. So it's to protect ownership of the domain name and prevent subsequent theft of or misuse of the domain name.
Or price abandonment or abandoning payment, right? If it's in somebody else's care.
Yeah. So
losing,
right. So I've got good stories tied to that. So I know somebody whose web guy or IT guy died. Okay, access to it died with them. My sister lost control over her husband's domain name because they have no idea who originally registered it within his company. So,
yeah. Okay, so this is kind of on the right wavelength of what I'm trying to get your mind around. What else is like this Cloudflare domain thing?
What else is like that?
Fixed price, easy to understand, easy stories to tell. Get your foot in the door.
Well, backup would be one that we could do, because if you don't have a backup of your Microsoft 365 data, and you get hit by ransomware, it's going to be game over for your business in all likelihood. And I've got stories around that, around why that's the case.
Yeah, because it encrypts everything, and you don't have a backup to. You have no leverage, right? If you have no backup, you have no leverage. You have no options, right?
Yeah. Well, you've got them, but they're all bad, because you can go to Microsoft and you say, well, I was hacked. We think it happened a couple of weeks ago. We need you to restore our data as of 2 weeks and 1 day before that. And they say, sure, we'll do that. We're going to restore everything 2 weeks from now. And you're going to lose everything in between.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the customer? Is there another customer problem above this ransomware problem
Yeah,
for data backup?
right. If somebody comes in, they've got an employee that's disgruntled and deletes everything. This is an easy way to get it back. So disgruntled employee is one. Oh crap, I deleted that folder, and I deleted it, as an accounting folder, and I deleted it 2 months ago, and now it's not in the recycle bin anymore. I can't recover it. This solves all those problems. Well, I made a change to this file, 6 months ago, and I really need the one from 7 months ago. Okay. It solves all those problems.
Okay. And so then what is the price of that?
Ridiculous. It's $3.49 plus tax per user. And I probably ought to put an implementation price on that.
Yeah. So let me write that out. $3. I'm going to call that $4 per user is what you just said, right?
$4 per user per month.
Per month. Okay. And this is called data MS365 data retention strategy or data retention service or something, data backup service.
Yeah. Data retention. What you and I are going to understand data retention, but I don't think I'd call it data backup and recovery.
And what if they're on G Suite or something?
I'm not offering that right now.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, so how long does it take for you to come in, cold start, figure it out, turn it on?
I can, working with them, it takes literally about an hour.
Okay. So what do you want to charge for that?
We'll call that at the $195.
Okay. And then from here, what is the step between this data backup and recovery and the core offer? There's something more than 195 and less than 1995 between these two, isn't there?
Well, yeah, it's all the other things.
What's the other things?
So you're looking for other steps in there? Yeah, how to pull out pieces of it?
Let's say you just finished this.
Yeah.
I'm your customer. You just finished this with me. I dropped $200. You did it. You're now back on the call with me same day or next day saying, I got you set up. And because you got 12 employees, I'm sending you a bill, or we prepaid your bill and we're done. Now that we got that done, really honestly, Justin, I think what we should do next is fill in the blank.
Yeah. So that admin account protection.
Admin account protection. Where's that at?
So that's that step 2 in the core offer.
Okay. So jump to 1995 is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, we could do, let's see. Well, it depends on where they're at, right? On their journey. If it depends on their current licensing, right? But I would say that the next thing, if I was going to recommend anything else, and they're not going to jump to the package, it should be to get their admin account, their administrative account, their administrative capabilities protected. That's the wrong term. So the problem, I'll tell you what the problem is that I'm solving, is that out of the box, almost everyone uses their normal account. Okay. My Rick.Handley at cybercoach.llc. Okay. Which is my primary, or my first account, in my Microsoft tenant. It's by default an administrative, highly privileged account. So if my account is taken over, and there's a lot of ways that can happen, I have lost my tenant. Okay. Basically can lose everything at that point in time, as well as my reputation, because they're going to be using my email then to make it look like they're sending mails to my clients. So you can lose everything by not having a separate admin account. So it's
Okay. Pause for just a minute. Sorry. Okay, I think I've captured what you're saying here.
okay.
So what I wrote is, out of the box, everyone uses their normal account, their first account in Microsoft tenant, which by default is a highly privileged account, and therefore high risk, as an administrator account, even though most business owners just see it as their personal account, i.e.
Right.
willy-nilly, this is my email. And what they actually need is their own admin account to separate the two.
Yeah, change willy-nilly to daily driver.
Daily what?
Daily driver.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then so what do we call that thing?
I'm not sure. So
so this is owner versus email. This is, so it's part of the tenant. It's part of the stack and default configuration. Plus, it's
yeah.
a concern for who the owner's email and their privileges, and then the admin's email and their privileges if they exist.
Yeah, it's the entire tenant that
The
we're
entire
talking
tenant.
about. Yeah, because
So,
the entire tenant is what is at risk, but it's so it's like going to the chiropractor and getting your admin account aligned.
Okay, so this is I'm understanding. I'm just trying to think of a right way to phrase this.
It's getting the right, separating the admin. Wow, I don't want to give a description. So it's, in general, it's separating the admin function from the daily business function. Okay. So, yeah, separate daily business from admin or something.
So I think, and I know we're not caught up in marketing language here yet, but I think what you really want to say is Microsoft defaults, hacker friendly Microsoft defaults become protected. Like, I think you're trying to position it like
Yeah. Okay. So
hacker friendly defaults, fixing hacker friendly defaults.
hacker friendly defaults.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
And then this is the kind of core of that.
And
You
it's
might
not
have
just, this isn't just Microsoft 365. I do this for Google Workspace too.
I really love the story you can tell around. I mean, it's almost as simple as the number one password in the world for an iPhone is 11111. And guess what? Everybody does it because it's easy when you're in the store and you're dealing with the agent and he's trying to get you set up and he just punches it in, says you can change this at any time. That's your default. And what we want to do is we want to fix that right away. And if you haven't done something like this yet, let's start there because we want to fix your defaults. Right. Or some versions of those kinds of stories. Right. And it's super easy to understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you want to charge for that?
So now that you put an S on it, so the hacker friendly defaults. So, because I've got that, and we could make sure that. So I think it's just that one thing.
Only the Microsoft.
No. When I say only that one thing, it only deals with the administrative accounts. Because that and multi-factor authentication are kind of the two biggies. So actually, I'm going to say there's at least two things I'm going to fix with that. It's going to be around that and making sure MFA is set up right and turning off, and they'll like this, turning off the requirement to change passwords.
Turn off requirement to change passwords.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So let's call that one. They'll require a couple hours. So that's I would call that 295. 295 or 395? 295. Leave it at 295.
Okay. All right. All right. So they're red because these are the problem statements that are being addressed.
All right.
Okay. So here's what we've got going here. So this is your product catalog or your product portfolio or your offers, right? Like it could be language, it could be called various things. Okay.
Okay.
So what we are currently looking for and what this is telling us is we have what we've identified here are initial sales offerings. Okay. And we'll just put above this low ticket acquire customer.
I think the branded secure email kind of fits in there too.
Branded secure email, branded secure.
495 one on the upper right.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's get a little problem box put together for that.
Okay. So the problem is that using unbranded email like Gmail or Outlook.com, gmail.com or Outlook.com looks unprofessional. So it looks unprofessional, and it exposes you to the risk of private conversations being known by okay, so between you and me, it's entities that that Microsoft and Google on these free accounts share with data aggregators. So whatever happens within your email, they may not share the exact content of what's in your email, but all the information about the email,
Mm-hmm.
the subject, the who it's from, who it's to, maybe even where it was sent from, or is being sent to, the the time and everything. All of that is shared with data aggregators, and is used to effectively snoop on you,
Yeah.
and your business and your clients.
And does it increase the likeliness that you're a good target? Or is it just?
Yeah, it does, because everybody knows that you're using a relatively unprotected service for your business. So that means that likely your business accounts, your financial accounts are tied to it. Your banking and everything else is probably tied to that, and they're generally fairly easy to steal from.
Mm-hmm.
Those free accounts,
Sure.
because they lack the security capabilities that come with them.
Okay. This is the branded secure email, right?
Right.
Okay, good. So let's do. Trying to think about how one. All right, now that I kind of scrunch these, give me an order of preference of what you prefer to be in rank order here, as leading product, and then what's next and what's next. Like, which one of these would you talk about 80% of the time as the first thing?
The first thing. Sorry, I'm scrolling up and down through it. So again, partly depends on circumstance. The first thing I'd be talking about is, okay, let's say brand protection of domain. The second thing would be branded secure email. The third thing would be fixing the hacker-friendly defaults.
And I'm just curious, like, why is the domain at the top versus the hacker-friendly defaults, as an example?
Part of it depends on where they're at in their journey, right?
So about maturity or sophistication.
If they have a domain, right, a protected domain, they need that. Wait, there's one more
Good.
important one. And this tends to be a lead in. In fact, I want to work on creating some automation around this, because it's part of the process that I do for a lot of new people that I meet. DMARC, DKIM, and SPF. Okay, so email we'll call it email deliverability and security.
What do you want to charge for that?
Let's call it a 195 thing. I'm just off the top of my head. Okay. So I give you a quick story around that.
Give me the red box around it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Problems. Yeah,
that's what I meant. So the problems, if you don't have that right, you're going to have a lot of your email going to junk, and your domain can be abused by other people sending mail pretending to be you. I'm the correct word.
Spoofing it? Spoof?
Yeah, spoofing is one word. It's another, if like if a spy is pretending to be you, they call it, there's
phishing?
No. I don't want to use a technical word here, but pretending, I mean, put pretending, I'll come up with the right word for it.
Okay. All right. So
yeah, and this is a reputation risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
That when others pretend to be you, that's a reputation risk. Like this is something I should be talking to Steve out in California. I can't remember his last name. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to put it down here. Where do you want it to be in the rank order?
I want it to be in position 2 in the rank order. Again, part of this depends on, where their people are going to come in. It depends on if they already have a domain or not. Right.
Yep. Okay. So where does that put these items here? Monitoring, reporting, Q&A, that's I guess after you've done the other things.
Yep.
Effectiveness workshop. What is this? Post service workshops?
That could be another. I think it's a bolt on. I could do it separately, but I'm not sure it's a great idea for me to be doing that.
Okay.
Because it goes with under the business continuity workshop and that.
So bolt-ons ultimately are upsells. Okay.
Yeah.
And it goes with which one? What is it upselling around?
It's upselling the core offer and the business continuity workshop. Well, the business continuity workshop could be used either way, because I could use it as an initial or as an upsell. I used it as an upsell to get me to get something out of Rob that I wanted. So I kind of struggle with that one. The migration from Google Workspace to Microsoft 365 is kind of a thing that might be needed as part of a core offer. So if the core offer is to measure if people want to get into Microsoft 365, that migration from Google Workspace is something that they would need. So it kind of goes on under the core offer.
As upsells, right? Core offer upsells?
No, it'd be
right. So actually
it would be under the core offer. So if they're in Google Workspace, I'm going to charge them another $800 to migrate them in.
10-4. Okay.
There's a lot of work involved in
it. And so is this how you see it?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, the business continuity workshop could be separate, but I'd prefer to do it as part of.
Okay. All right. So we're just about out of time. What are your reactions to this body of work we just did?
Really helpful, because I can start doing the same kinds of things that are in the red. What do you call those in general?
The red is just the customer problems.
Okay. So I can do the same. I can now do, I've done, if you think about it, that the admin account changes
Mhm.
is in one of those.
Yeah.
And then I can start creating customer problems for each one of those 7 things in the core offer.
Yeah. So a suggestion, Rick,
Yeah.
is that you'll frame one or more of these initial sales offerings as the starting point for the conversation every time. This is how we get started together, and we can answer that question.
Okay.
And then while you do that, either before or after, you can have an assessment, and that assessment can put everything, all these blue boxes that we just outlined would be criteria of the assessment of a pass or fail or a true or false or a yes or no or a Likert scale of 1 to 5, so that this assessment then tells them why these other blue boxes are going to be suggested next.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Then,
So you're going to ask in your assessment, have you changed your Microsoft defaults? Yes or no? Is your primary business account email the first email that was generated on your Microsoft 360 account? Yes or no? Right? Like in those two things defend why you want to change the hacker friendly defaults. Right? You see what I'm saying?
yeah. So we're talking 2 different types of assessments. Okay. So
Yeah,
this,
this is a qualifications assessment or a needs assessment, right? Like that's really what we're talking about here. Is this is a needs assessment
okay.
that ultimately asks all the questions that reveal where you would be presenting to them work. So if you and I were working at Terminex,
Okay. So it's like, yeah, it's like that one that framework that you showed me in the Excel spreadsheet for walking through. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
the Excel spreadsheet,
Um,
not offhand.
yeah. So you've got a process in an Excel spreadsheet where you're leading people through.
Oh yeah, the health check, red, amber, green health check.
Right. Right.
That's one example. Yes.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's really more like whenever I do onboarding and we do the go to market yes no questions. Do you have a sales funnel? Do you have an inbound outbound strategy? Do you have a website that generates leads? Does your website help the phone ring? Can anybody book an appointment from your website? Like those are all the style of questions we're talking about here.
Okay. So essentially, I'm going to ask yes no questions to reveal problems.
That's right. But you're first going to make sure that you ask the yes no questions that reveal the problems that are all around your blue boxes, all the blue
Yeah.
boxes, right?
To reveal problems. So
So the natural solution to those problems.
All the yes no questions reveal problems around
Your
my
solutions.
offerings.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
But they don't, in my opinion, I think what we want to test is that they don't take this assessment until you've sold the first thing. So the way that works is, in my opinion, you'll open up an opportunity and select one of these initial offerings that we've identified in this left column. And you'll go, great. What I love about doing the hacker friendly defaults is it's quick, it's easy, it's immediate value, and you're not beholden to me on anything else, and I'm here to help. So no matter what, I want to see you be successful. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to send you a link to my assessment, and all it's going to do is ask you some really simple yes no questions. And don't worry about if you're right or wrong. Just do your best to answer them while I'm doing this. And then I'll finish this thing out and I'll review your thing. And when we get back together again, I'll tell you what the assessments told me, and I'll tell you about where we ended the project, where this project turnover is done for 195.
Okay.
You see how that works?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And you're 3 minutes over.
Mm-hmm.
Send me the fireflies, and then I'll have all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So there's still a wait. We haven't even gotten to really fleshing out the journey, just so you know. But these are the bones of how we understand the journey, because we got to know what we're saying.
Okay.
Cool. Was this helpful?
It was. If at some point in time you can point me to something where I can start learning about the journey.
Good. Yep.
If you've got something like that,
okay,
I'll start consuming that.
Cool. All right, Rick. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Well, there you go. You can see that we ran out of time, and that was about an hour or so of trying to make sense of his particular offerings and what he could offer, what the prices are, what the mechanics are. You probably heard some about time and where they might fit in the buyer's journey. And what's cool about this is, while we didn't go into all the details, and then our next step will be to really map out the journey and the touch points. We're going to talk next about like bundles. How do we bundle all this? What would we upsell naturally in the early products to lead to the core product? We're going to talk more about the assessment process, so that as the client goes through and identifies their easy yes, no answers, or whatever it is that solution winds up looking like, where that survey, scorecard, report, assessment, whatever we want to call it, generates a list of opportunities for Rick to talk through. The reason that's so valuable is he'll be able to then take that next step to say, hey, because these things are on the board, I recommend, right? So he gets to move through that zone of authority and credibility, move into the next logical cell in that process based on a recommendation that feels like a third-party assessment, right? That helps him say, these are the things that look like they're risk items. I've already done this work. I'm already here. These are the next things I recommend we do. And then, of course, that assessment has value in and of itself should the customer want to do something else without Rick. So those are kind of the things that will come downstream. Then we'll talk about the actual mapping of the buyer's journey. We'll talk about, should we have email automation? Should we have follow-ups? Those are things that will come downstream. But I hope that was useful, kind of to see a real-time example of how do we talk through products, how do we talk through the basics of a sales ladder or a product ladder or an upsell set of offerings. And I think maybe this will inspire you on how do you organize your thoughts to really figure out what you'll sell first, and how do you have conversations that lead to a core offer.
It's easy to get stuck. It's a lot easier to get unstuck with 4corequestions.com. That's a free framework I prepared for you. Go check that out. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. We'd love to chat with you there. And we've got some links in the description that can help you in your small business for impact planning and any strategic work you might be doing.